There are ancient books whose pages whisper to the soul. But then, there are texts that burn through time, their words carrying a power so profound, so unsettling, that even the gods seem to lean closer. Among these, none is more mysterious, more forbidden, than the Emerald Tablet. Carved, not written. Etched into green crystal that gleamed like solid light. A message, from a being said to stand between gods and men. The name he gave himself was Hermes Trismegistus, thrice great Hermes. But who was he really? A sage? A sorcerer? Or something far beyond the limits of human understanding? The tablet's words are few, barely 100 lines, and yet within them, entire civilizations claim to have found the secrets of creation itself. Alchemy, astrology, spiritual transformation, all roads lead back to this single artifact. And yet, no one has ever truly seen it. Only copies, whispers, translations scattered through the centuries like fragments of a shattered mirror. To read it, was to gaze directly into the architecture of reality. To understand it, was to risk madness. Because it doesn't merely describe the world. It reveals the blueprint of existence itself. The legend begins in Alexandria, the city of light. In its great library, before it burned, scholars spoke of a mysterious priest-philosopher who appeared without lineage or past. He called himself Hermes, though many whispered he was Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, walking the earth in human form. They said he could speak with the stars, and that his voice could bend the movement of air itself. He taught that all things are one mind, and that this mind dreams the universe into being. That which is below, he said, is like that which is above. And that which is above is like that which is below. To accomplish the miracles of the one thing. The words would echo across centuries. They became the cornerstone of hermetic philosophy, the hidden root of alchemy, mysticism, and sacred science. But beneath the poetry lay a danger. If consciousness truly creates reality, then whoever masters consciousness masters the universe itself. This was not meant for ordinary men. These were teachings of gods, leaked into the human world. And so, to protect humanity, or perhaps to control it, the Emerald Tablet was hidden. Some say it was buried beneath the Great Pyramid. Others believe it was taken to the heart of Atlantis before its fall. But one truth remains, every mystic who ever claimed to see beyond the veil, from Pythagoras to Newton, was, in some way, chasing the echo of Hermes. At the heart of the tablet's message lies a concept so strange, so subtle, that most never recognize it. It speaks not of gold, or metals, or even magic in the literal sense. It speaks of transformation, of matter into spirit, and spirit into light. The so-called great work of alchemy wasn't about turning lead into gold. It was about turning the human being into a god. Separate the earth from the fire, says the tablet. The subtle from the gross, gently, with great ingenuity. These lines describe not chemistry, but conscious evolution. The fire is awareness. The earth is the body, the dense, material shell. Through discipline, reflection, and sacred insight, man could distill the divine from his own being. To remember that he was never born, he was projected. Hermes was not teaching religion. He was teaching a technology of the soul, a science of consciousness that ancient civilizations once mastered. From the temples of Egypt to the mountains of Tibet, initiates spoke of the same principle. That the world is a reflection of mind. And that awakening is not the discovery of something new, but the remembrance of what we have always been. In the ancient temples of Egypt, the initiate's journey was called the Great Work. It was not merely a ritual. It was a transformation of being. The adepts believed that humanity was not fallen, only forgetful. That the divine spark within each person was covered by layers of illusion, fear, desire, ignorance, until we mistook shadow for self. The Emerald Tablet described the process of returning to origin. It spoke of dissolving the self into unity, becoming transparent enough for the divine light to pass through. To the priests of old, this wasn't metaphor. It was physics of the soul. They believed that consciousness was a form of light, and that the human body was designed as a sacred vessel to transform that light into awareness. It rises from earth to heaven and again descends to earth. The tablet says, and receives the power of the above and the below. It is the eternal circulation of spirit and matter. Creation breathing in and out. The divine, remembering itself through form. And within that rhythm lies the key to everything. The secret of immortality. But all knowledge carries a shadow. When the great work became corrupted by greed, when men began to seek power over others instead of mastery over themselves, the science of the soul was lost. Hermes foresaw this. He wrote that the day would come when Egypt would be deserted. When her temples would be silent. And her sacred wisdom would be dismissed as myth. And so it happened. The emerald tablet vanished. The library of Alexandria burned. The ancient schools of initiation fell silent. But not all was lost. Through Persian mystics, Greek philosophers, and Arab alchemists, fragments survived, encoded in symbols, veiled in allegory. To protect the sacred truth from those who would misuse it, the wise spoke in riddles. Transmute lead into gold, they said. But what they meant was, transmute ignorance into illumination. Seek the philosopher's stone, they whispered. But the stone was never a mineral. It was consciousness itself. Centuries later, in the dim rooms of medieval Europe, seekers once again tried to decode the emerald tablet. They believed the secret formula was hidden in its verses. But the deeper ones knew the truth. The formula was within themselves. To the alchemist, the world was a mirror. Lead represented the unrefined soul, heavy, dull, unconscious. Gold symbolized enlightenment, radiant, incorruptible, pure. Every chemical experiment mirrored an inner transformation. Through solitude, prayer, and meditation, they purified the elements of their being. Fear into courage. Anger into compassion. Ignorance into wisdom. And when the inner work was complete, when the fire of spirit perfectly balanced the water of matter, they said the stone appeared. Not as a rock, but as a light inside the heart. This was the secret that empires could never steal. Because true alchemy was not about metal. It was about the metamorphosis of the human soul. Though the emerald tablet disappeared, its essence echoed through time, hidden in plain sight. The words of Hermes resurfaced, not in science or philosophy, but in religion, carefully rephrased, reimagined, reborn. In the East, it became the idea of Atman and Brahman. The soul as a reflection of the infinite. In Greece, it became the Logos, the divine reason ordering the cosmos. In early Christianity, it lived in the phrase, as above, so below. On earth as it is in heaven. All spoke of one truth. That the human and the divine are not separate, but mirrors of the same infinite consciousness. Yet the meaning was often lost in dogma. The living science became belief. The formula for awakening turned into worship. And once again, the voice of Hermes grew faint. But never fully silent. Somewhere, always, the tablet whispers. Through poetry, through intuition, through dreams. It waits for the few who still remember what it means to listen between worlds. Today, what ancient mystics called spirit, modern science calls consciousness. And in a strange, almost poetic way, the discoveries of our age have begun to circle back, to where Hermes once stood. Quantum physics tells us that the observer and the observed are inseparable. That matter does not exist in a definite state until it is seen. That consciousness, somehow, participates in the unfolding of reality. What the emerald tablet described in mythic poetry, the unity of above and below, of mind and matter. We now describe in equations and experiments. Could it be that the tablet wasn't symbolic at all? That it was an ancient attempt to describe the same mystery we are rediscovering today, the primacy of consciousness? It seems the ancient priests, long before microscopes or telescopes, already knew. That reality is not built from things, but from thought. From vibration, frequency, awareness. To separate the subtle from the gross was not to conduct a chemical reaction, but to refine perception itself. To awaken to the source from which all worlds arise. And once that source is remembered, creation is no longer something that happens to us. It becomes something that happens through us. Every age has those who rediscover the forgotten light. The Hermetic spirit never truly vanished, it only went underground. It re-emerged in the Renaissance, when scholars like Ficino, Paracelsus, and Bruno revived the wisdom of Hermes. They saw the universe not as a machine, but as a living mind. They believed that man was the mirror through which the cosmos became self-aware. Giordano Bruno was burned for saying it aloud. That stars are suns, each with worlds of their own. And that divinity is infinite, present in all things. He died whispering what Hermes had once carved in emerald. The all is one. And today, once again, we find ourselves returning, quietly, curiously, to that same truth. Not through religion, but through experience. Not through belief, but through awareness itself. Meditation. Near-death studies. Psychedelic research. All point to one astonishing realization. That consciousness is not confined to the brain. It is the field in which the brain appears. And perhaps this is the final teaching of the tablet. That the universe itself is dreaming. And we are the dreamers through which it awakens. There is a reason why the Emerald Tablet was never destroyed. Why its words survived wars, fires, and centuries of silence. Because truth cannot be erased, only forgotten. When Hermes spoke of above and below, he wasn't speaking of heaven and earth. He was speaking of inner and outer, seen and unseen. He was reminding us that every human heart is a miniature universe. And every universe, a reflection of a single heart. Maybe the tablet was never meant to be found in stone or crystal at all. Maybe it was always hidden within us. Every moment of love, every act of wonder. Every question that refuses to die. Is a line of that same invisible text. And when we stop searching the skies and turn inward, the words begin to glow again. As above, so below. As within, so without. The law of mirrors. The science of spirit. The lost art of remembering what we have always been. Perhaps the Emerald Tablet was never meant to be found, but felt. Its words still shimmer beneath the surface of every soul. Waiting for the quiet mind. The open heart. And the one who dares to remember.